The price-to-rent ratio is a real estate metric that compares the cost of buying a property to the cost of renting it. It can have implications for income levels and various aspects of the housing market. Here are 25 reasons how the price-to-rent ratio affects income. Housing affordability. A high price-to-rent ratio indicates that buying a property is relatively expensive compared to renting, potentially limiting homeownership for individuals with lower incomes. Rent burden. A high price-to-rent ratio can result in higher rental costs, putting a burden on renters' incomes. Mortgage affordability. A high price-to-rent ratio may make it difficult for lower-income individuals to afford a mortgage and enter the housing market. Investment returns. A low price-to-rent ratio could indicate a favorable environment for real estate investors, potentially leading to increased rental income. Housing demand. A high price-to-rent ratio may lead to higher demand for rental properties as buying becomes less affordable, potentially increasing rental income. Rental vacancy rates. A high price-to-rent ratio may lead to lower rental vacancy rates as more people opt to rent, potentially increasing rental income for landlords. Income inequality. A high price-to-rent ratio can contribute to income inequality, as it may make homeownership less accessible for lower-income individuals. Regional disparities. The price-to-rent ratio can vary significantly between regions, affecting income disparities and economic opportunities in different areas. Homeownership rates. A high price-to-rent ratio may result in lower homeownership rates, potentially impacting household wealth and stability. Housing market stability. A balanced price-to-rent ratio can contribute to a stable housing market, reducing income uncertainties for both renters and homeowners. Housing supply. The price-to-rent ratio can influence housing supply dynamics, potentially affecting rental availability and income. Urbanization trends. The price-to-rent ratio can impact urbanization trends, as higher ratios may lead to increased demand for rental properties in cities. Return on investment. The price-to-rent ratio can influence the return on investment for landlords, potentially affecting their overall income. Household savings. A high price-to-rent ratio may encourage households to save more for a down payment, potentially affecting disposable income. Real estate investment strategies. Investors may adjust their real estate investment strategies based on the price-to-rent ratio, potentially influencing rental income and income streams. Economic growth. The price-to-rent ratio can impact economic growth by affecting housing demand and construction activity, potentially influencing income levels. Household debt levels. A high price-to-rent ratio may lead to increased mortgage debt for homeowners, affecting disposable income. Government housing policies. The price-to-rent ratio can influence government housing policies and affordability programs, potentially affecting income support for renters. Housing market bubbles. An extremely high price-to-rent ratio may indicate a housing market bubble, which can have severe implications for household income and financial stability. Retirement planning. The price-to-rent ratio may impact retirement planning, as it can influence housing expenses for retirees living on fixed incomes. Real estate investment decisions. The price-to-rent ratio can influence individuals' decisions to invest in real estate, potentially affecting their overall income diversification. Rental regulations. A high price-to-rent ratio may lead to increased attention on rental regulations, potentially affecting rental income and landlord profits. Interest rates. The price-to-rent ratio can impact interest rates and mortgage affordability, potentially affecting homeownership and rental income. Housing affordability initiatives. Government initiatives to address the price-to-rent ratio may impact housing affordability and income distribution. Wealth accumulation. The price-to-rent ratio can affect wealth accumulation, especially through property ownership, which can have long-term implications for income and retirement planning.